Have you ever saw someone that was in a very toxic, unhealthy relationship and you're like, sis, you need to let that fool go? Or you're like, bro, you need to just not deal with her because she is not the one. We think that people are staying in toxic relationships just for the heck of it. But there are some real authentic reasons why people stay in relationships that no longer serve them. And to be honest, that somebody might just be you. It doesn't matter. I'm going to break down to you the 5 reasons why most people stay in unhealthy, toxic relationships. Hey, welcome back. It's your girl, Keandra, and I am super excited to be here with you today talking about some of the reasons and the signs that people stay in unhealthy relationships. And like I mentioned before, that people might just be you. So go ahead and sit back, get your popcorn, and really dive into this because I wanted to break this down to you guys because some of us are just real judgy. Sometimes we don't realize that the reasons why people stay in unhealthy, toxic, detrimental relationships are for some valid reasons. Now, I know some of y'all are like, valid reasons? There's no reason to stay in something that is unhealthy. I don't know about you, but I have been into some relationships that have been very complex. And it wasn't always the healthiest. So before we judge somebody for staying, I want to break down some of the common reasons why people do. Now, this is from what I have observed. This is from the couples and the clients that I have worked with in my private practice in Los Angeles, California. And it's just some things that I commonly see. So let's get into it. The first one is people stay in unhealthy, toxic relationships because they're fearful of being alone. So look, I told y'all this before, and I'm going to tell y'all again. Being single is not a death sentence. Hello. Being single is not a death sentence. I had to say it twice for y'all because some of y'all, y'all didn't get it. It went over your head. We think oftentimes that being alone, being by ourselves, not having a partner or a significant other is like the worst thing in the world. It's like the worst thing on the planet. But truth be told, it's not always that way. And I think we have this idea, I think we have this perception of singleness not being, the ideal relationship status because of social media. And also because we watch and look at everybody else's relationship and we have this comparison factor. We look at people who are in relationships, we look at people who might be dating, who are engaged, who are newlyweds, or even been married for a very, very long time. And we compare our situation, which is clearly very different, to their situation. And we think, oh my God, we're supposed to be married and have 2.5 kids. This is the 0.5, in the belly. Have a little white picket fence and do all of these things. But who says that has to be your reality? Now, I'm not saying you meant to be single for the rest of your life, but if you have to go through a season of singleness because you are releasing and getting out of a toxic relationship or an unhealthy relationship, that's perfectly fine and okay. So people stay because they're just fearful of being alone. And sometimes when we are alone, we have to deal with some ugly stuff. Sometimes when we are alone, some of that trauma comes up. Sometimes when we are alone, we don't like who we are when there's nobody else around us, right? We are stuck with our own thoughts, our own feelings. We just don't know what to do with that. And so I completely understand and empathize with people here, but I don't want you to stay in this situation just because of your relationship status. Number 2, people stay in unhealthy and toxic relationships because they are scared to leave their children without a 2-parent home. Now, this is so common that I don't even know what to say about this. I have seen so many couples, especially the married folks or people who have been together for a very long time. They are so fearful of leaving because they don't want their children to come from a single parent home, or they don't want their child to be without one of their parents. And I understand that, right? Like the goal is to have a healthy family unit with like all the people together, right? Like your parents together, the children, all of those things. But sometimes that just isn't the reality. And let me break it down and tell y'all one thing. Sometimes, come on in closer, sometimes it's healthier to leave. I'm gonna let that sit for some of y'all because y'all need to understand and let that sink in. Sometimes it's actually healthier to leave because what you are showing your children in a toxic, unhealthy home is just as detrimental. And it's probably better for you to actually break up and separate or even get divorced in some instances because you're not showing, you're not modeling good behavior for your children. Essentially, you're basically teaching your child, right, to take hurt, to take pain, to take disappointment, to take verbal abuse, sometimes physical abuse, poor communication. Like, your child is going to grow up thinking that these things are normal. So when they grow up and get into their own intimate relationships, right, they're going to think that these things are normal. And they're not, okay? But they're going to be like, well,
mommy and daddy was always fighting, and that's what we're supposed to do here.
That is the complete wrong thing to do and to model for your children. So if you are in this situation and you're feeling stuck, I really advise you to create a game plan, right? Don't be hasty and jump to conclusions. Create a game plan. Do what you need to do. Find the best way and get the heck up out of there, you and your babies. The third reason why people stay in toxic, unhealthy relationships is because they're nervous about what other people will say. Y'all are so worried about what other people will say about your relationship status that you will decide to stay in something that's unhealthy. Girl, boo, boy, bye. That is not it. That is not the move. So I want to encourage you, and I want to help you understand that other people's opinion of you, that other people's opinion of your relationship, it doesn't matter. Because they're not the one that has to be in this relationship, and they're not the one dealing with the current consequences of you staying in something that is so detrimental, that is going to strip you physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and all of the things, right? They don't have to deal with the consequences of that. You do. So before you are worried about, oh, well, my mama and my cousin and my daddy and my kids, before you worried about anybody else, I need for you to prioritize you. And this is part of the biggest issue that I see with people, especially women. We prioritize everybody else but ourselves, and not realizing that the person you need to prioritize is you. Because if you're not good, nobody else around you are going to be good. Now let's get into number 4. It's about to get a little spicy up in here, okay? The number 4 reason why people stay in unhealthy and toxic relationships is because of the sex. Now, I'm not gonna say these words because I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble, but sometimes some of y'all are demonetized, okay? You fill in the blank. And some of y'all are pee-whipped. Oops, yep, I said it. And sometimes there is just, let's just say there's good sex out there, right? There are people who are providing good sex. And sometimes we think that if we don't stay in this relationship, if we don't stay with this person, I'm never going to have a very intimate connection with somebody just like I had with this person here. Sometimes that might be true because, let's be honest, everybody is not good in bed. That's another video for another day, by the way. I'm gonna make a video about that. But we forget that, sex is not the only reason and the only component of a healthy, long-lasting relationship. Now, sex is important. It ain't important enough for you to stay in a toxic, unhealthy situation that is going to be so detrimental to you, your kids, and possibly even generations to come. So while the sex may be good, we need to understand that that shouldn't be top priority. And if you're prioritizing that over your other needs, we need to have a different conversation about something else. And last but not least, number 5. The number 5 reason why people stay in toxic, unhealthy relationships is because of money. Now, this is a doozy. This is a big one because I get it, right? Like when you have children, possibly, when you have homes and businesses and things intertwined, shared bank accounts, all sorts of things, it's very hard to unwind and untangle all of the things that you guys had intermingled, right? When you were in this relationship. It can be very difficult. It can be very nuanced because it's like, oh shoot, now what is mine and what is my partner, and how do we dissolve that, and how do we separate that? It's important for us to realize that money is also not everything. And money is a reason why people stay, because sometimes, let's be honest, not everyone has the best job. Not everyone is in the best socioeconomic status. Not everybody makes enough money. Like, there's various reasons why money is not where it needs to be. Some people have grown up in poverty and all of those things. And so we carry around this idea of like, if I leave, I'm gonna be broke. If I leave, I won't have a place to stay. If I leave, I might not have this car. If I leave, I might not have fill in the blank, whatever that is for you. And that can be scary because money means so much to us. Money can mean security, money can mean safety, it can mean so many things. So when that is pulled underneath you like a rug, it's hard to figure out what you would do when that financial support is not there. So if you are in this situation and you are in this space, I want to tell you the same thing that I told the people in the beginning. Get a game plan. And it may take you a minute. It may take you some months or even some years. I don't care how long it takes you. Just create a game plan of what you need to do, and get the heck up out of there. Now, some of these reasons, some of them may seem very nuanced, and some of them may be something you agree with or disagree with. It's completely up to you. However, I just want people to understand that toxic and unhealthy situations, they do more to us than we can ever imagine. And so if you made it this far into this video, clearly that means you really enjoyed something. So I want you to comment healthy in the comment section, just so I know that you guys are on the right track to having healthy, wholesome conversations. And while we're here, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can see all of the dope videos coming to you weekly. I'll see you next time.